Hello, Earth Science. Today we're going to be talking about astronomy, the basics, the path of the sun across the sky, azimuth and star trails, and maybe seasons if we make it that far. But what you'll need today, besides your earbuds, or whatever you guys call them these days, is this. The copy of your astronomy notes is where we're going to start today, and where we'll start right now. So once you have that ready to go, you can continue. Okay, people, so let's start taking a look here. So first, the very first thing we want to do is to define a celestial object. So in order to do this, we are going to say a celestial object is any object in space outside of the Earth's atmosphere. So once you leave the atmosphere of the Earth, you're looking at what's called a celestial object. It could be a star, a planet, an asteroid, a meteor, another galaxy, anything that's outside of the rocky portion of the Earth, the water of the Earth, and the air of the Earth. We call it a celestial object. Examples? Well, I just gave you some. A celestial sphere is a model of the sky. So you've seen these if you've been in class at all in the latter half of last week, then you would have seen a celestial sphere. So in a celestial sphere, we have 365 degrees of a horizon, then we also have 90 degrees of the sky on all sides. And the zenith is the highest point in the sky directly above the observer's head. The zenith, straight up, 90 degrees from where the observer is. Take a look at these in a little more detail in a moment. So the horizon is an imaginary boundary between the sky and the ground. And the altitude is the angular distance above the horizon. So in your notes here, you have a picture of a celestial sphere. And I just gave it some degrees. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90 is where it is the highest value it can go to. So those are our angular distances above the horizon. So we can be anywhere on this horizon, but then we can be any degree above that. So you could say, well, I'm looking at something that's east, due east, and 30 degrees above that. So that'll be over here. It's going to be 30 degrees from the horizon up, and boom, you've pinpointed or located the object in the sky. The azimuth is the angular distance along the horizon from north, 0 degrees, going clockwise. So I'm going to give you some time to fill this in. Now, this little star thing here, this is, mind you, this is the flat part of the celestial sphere. So this is your flat, kind of the bottom of the celestial sphere. You see it here in this drawing lying down. And we start at 0 degrees, which is due north. And then you can just fill in the degrees around it. 90 degrees is due east. 180 degrees is due south. 270 is due west. And then back to 0 for due north. We have other directions in there, compass directions. You have northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. And here in the notes it says top view, looking down, this little eyeball there. I think that's what that's supposed to be. So you are looking down at this thing. So I'll give you another second to fill in your numbers, and then I'll show you what we're talking about. Okay, if you still need more time to fill in the numbers or to write any words down, you could pause the video because I'm going to obscure the screen with a screen of a paper azimuth. So this is a paper azimuth here, one that you'll be using, similar to one you'll be using later this week when you do a lab. So you can see, in this case here, I have 0 degrees north, and then I have all my degrees in 10-degree increments going all the way around this thing. So I get back to 350 and 360 degrees. So that gives me a direction. Now, the altitude comes into play once I need to figure out how high above the horizon I need to go. So for that, we use something like this. So this thing here, if you can't see it, it's like a plastic sphere. I'm going to set this down right on top of it. It's like an upside down bowl. All right, so let's say I needed to find something that was 340 degrees on the azimuth. So that's right here. But it needed to be 80 degrees in the sky. I'm just going to pick where I think 80 is. You guys will have an actual way to measure this when you do the lap. So right here, it looks a little different on my camera, but this is the zenith right here. So the zenith is the top right above, directly above the observer. My camera's a little angled, so it might not look like that's where it is, but trust me, it is. So then the object I was looking for, I went 340 and I went up here, and we'll say it's some kind of star, really bright star, brightly shining star. That's the location. So what I needed was 340, and I had to come up 80 degrees to find that star, and lo and behold, there it is. About 10 degrees off from the zenith. In what direction? Well, 340 is the direction that it was off the zenith from. Boom, right there. So that's how this is used for locating objects in the sky. Some examples down here. So in this case here, we have north, and we have a star. Well, I think that star's supposed to be up there, I'm not sure. Anyway, we have north, so let's make this south, east and west in this diagram here. So the direction, we say common terms for the azimuth, we would say southwest is where this star would be, like right here. And our degrees would be 225. That's the actual azimuth. So the southwest is like a, right here, guys. Southwest is like a common term, like, oh, it's about southwest of here, but 225 degrees gives more accurate information. And then how high is the sky up off the horizon? Like, again, common terms, that's about halfway up. It's about halfway. I think it's halfway? Yeah, it's halfway. But we're going to go and give us some value here. 45 degrees, yes, that's half of 90, but saying something is 225 degrees on the azimuth and 45 degrees up is more accurate than saying, yeah, it's about halfway up in the south, halfway up the sky in the southwest corner of the yard. That's fine, but we're trying to be as accurate as we can possibly be when trying to find objects in the sky. So here's another one here, letter B. I got my north over here, south, east, and west. Common way, northeast, 45 degrees. So here's northeast, that's why it's 45 degrees on the azimuth. How high in the sky? That's about a third of the way up. But why don't we go ahead and say it's 30 degrees, then we'll be just a little bit more accurate. Okay, so I want you guys to try some here. So we got one here. I got north, south, east, and west. Notice that they changed the direction. They'll do that all the time. You always have to pay attention to what's going on with the celestial dome. Where are the directions? Because now north is like into the page and south is coming at you. Look at the one we just did. North was over here, and it was west that was coming at you. East was into the page. So they switch it up. They do whatever they want to. Just make sure you catch it so you always have your right orientation of it. So we have north, and we have a star right here on the horizon. So what do you think the common term would be? What do you think your degrees will be for this one? And then what do you think a common term for the altitude of it would be, how high it is? And what do you think the actual numerical value for where it is would be? So pause the video, try it, see what you come up with, and I'll reveal it in just a second. Okay, let's see what you came up with here. So northwest might be a common term. I went ahead and said it was 315 degrees. Now if you're like, where'd you get that from, Mr. G? Northwest, here's my 315. So I'm getting it from my notes. And it's on the horizon. We learned a bit from Polaris. When you're on the horizon, you're 0 degrees. That's where the star is. no problem. Check out this one right here, letter D. So again, I got north. That's all I gave you. North is over here now. You mark your directions, your compass directions. It'll be good practice for you. And then tell me how high this star is in the sky. Go ahead and do it. Okay, if you really did it, and I'm hoping you really did, then you should have come up with some answers like this. We'll do the common ones. Southeast, but if we look back at this page again, once again, southeast is 135 degrees. I'm getting this from right here. And the height of the star in the sky, is about 2/3 of the way up. Well, 2/3, we'll say it's 75 degrees, is the height of this in the sky. Okay, now, one thing about these astronomy notes, guys, we're not going to go in the exact order that this book, this note packet goes in. We are going to talk about Newton's laws of gravity, but we're going to do that on Friday. We're going to stay with the seasons and the path of the sun because that's where our brains are at. So I'm going to pause this, then when we come back on your next video, we'll tell you what page to flip to, and we'll pick it up from there.